I'm kind of now seeing it become weaponized. That it's being used by nefarious actors, to be vague, to pollute the information ecosphere, to target people who are vulnerable. So I'm curious how in 2025, where do you see the conversation around media literacy? Is it still something empty that we just encourage people to do? Or are we now coupling with it with larger social responsibilities or, larger commitments around respect and civility? I'm curious how that's synthesizing as our understanding of media literacy is, I think, fundamentally maturing.
So you actually think media literacy is maturing?
I know where you're going with that, and I'm in accordance. When I say maturing, I mean our understanding of it. The distribution of it among society, unfortunately, is not as widespread as we require it. But I mean, on a scholarly level, on an intellectual level, I think our understanding of how it's used and where has changed over the last 10 years. Dana Boyd, for example, has written a couple of essays which are kind of critical of media literacy on its own. So I'm, as someone who is on the front lines, right, who both as a practitioner and as an intellectual, I'm curious how this idea for you has evolved, while acknowledging where you were headed there, which is, it's still an elite resource and not something that is pervasive amongst the citizenry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think the biggest way, being sort of a STEM person and more kind of in that rational sciencey side, and was always the person that thought, well, if you just have a rational argument, you can win the day, right? What I've learned in a couple of years doing this show and talking to all the experts and all the research papers and other work that I've read, that's like doesn't work. And there's evidence for that doesn't work too. That's the kind of irony of it all, right? The people that say that I'm going to convince you with evidence, there's actually evidence that shows you that convincing you with evidence doesn't work.
That's a Metaview right there, literally.
Right,
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's actually, Metaview is kind of interesting too, because that's kind of what my show is. It's kind of it's not a, we don't talk about political issues very much, but we're sort of above that. Like, we're talking about how you talk about political issues, that kind of thing, right? But yeah, with media, I guess that's true.